Hey guys, this is IntroducingEmy and we're back with another Redline Tuesday. This one was sent to us by starmachines.deviantart.com. So, Star Machines over on DeviantArt. And let's get started. So, I don't know if this is any particular character. You've heard that before from me. But, I guess it's kind of a good thing. I come at it a little blind. I'm not like trying to bend it to a certain look. So actually I am using, what did I do? I'm using Lazy Nezumi to help smooth my pen pressure, but it is just a little too smooth for me. That's a little better. Now I'm not using the pencil brush today, just feel like doing something a little different. So you've got some nice contrapposto going on here with like the hips and the shoulders going at an angle to each other. Actually, let's figure out where our heels are hitting. So I'm trying to think how to phrase this. Okay, so you see how we're like looking dead on at the toes, like the feet are, or the yeah, like the front part of the shoe, the toes, it's totally flat. That means that if we were looking like straight on at the feet, that we would actually, because of perspective, as you would move up the body, it would be like you were like tilting your head and like looking up at her. So I'm going to put this line down where her heels should be, and then what I'll do is I'll show you how to draw the feet more in perspective to the rest of the body, because to be honest, it's more like we're looking dead on at her torso. I would hesitate to say her face, because she's probably like, she's looking at us, so her head's like tilted down or what have you, but it's a little awkward to have the feet totally flat like this. So there's the ribboos. Okay, let me just step back for a minute. This is how you step back on a computer. I'm just going to draw a plumb line. Okay, so you've got the foot hitting at just about the right spot, which is like right there. So I'm just going to do some light lines to show the outer contours of the legs. And the bottom of the knee should be hitting a little more, a little lower. It's just a little high on the leg, like it's kind of creeping up towards the thighs there. So, and it also, you're doing this, but just so everybody else knows what's going on, the angle of the knees should be semi-reflective of the angle of the hips. So slightly downhill, not quite so much, because you know, the feet are on the ground. They can't go like at a really extreme angle. You can't throw the knees that far off, but something to that degree I think looks good. Okay. Now I'm doing a little bit of a modified version of what I think his name is Sikra? Oh god. I'm a bad person. I really should know how to pronounce his name by now, but he's another how to draw YouTuber here, and he does kind of like a lightning bolt for his legs. So I'm doing it like so badly, but he does sort of like a like when he's, oh my gosh, I'm a bad person. He does sort of like a lightning bolt thing when he draws his legs to like help find his shapes. I do a slightly modified version of that where I do these like twists coming from the inside of the knee to help show like where that force is going. Neither way is like better or worse, it's just how I do it, but oh my goodness, I don't know if you can hear my cat in the background. He's mad with power. So I've kind of taken some liberties here. Ooh, that's really sketchy. I apologize. I've kind of plumped up her calves to sort of match her thighs. So remember to always be using one arm as reference to the measurements and lengths and whatnot of the other. So here, I felt like when I was looking at the original, this arm was drawn pretty well. Like you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like you got the measurements really close and everything. So from there, I'm using this this arm to do the same measurements as this arm. Now I'm eyeballing it, but if you need to, like, could let me find another color here. You could like go like this, and on a new layer, like measure that out, and then hit Control T and take it over. You know, and this should be about the same size. It's a little bit in perspective, but ignore that. So, to give you an idea here. Sorry, I'm getting a little fancy with the hands. Let me just I actually have trouble drawing hands on hips. It's like one of the something I need to practice. Usually when I do my hands on hips, I do it with like the hand laying that way as opposed to like coming around. I don't know if there's like a right way to do that. It's not exactly like, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a realistic pose. I mean, obviously people can do that. You can put your hand on your hip, but you don't see a whole lot of people doing like extreme contrapposto hand on hippies, you know, being sassy little sass masters. So what I'm trying to say is you can do it any way you want to do it. Okay, so now I'm going to attempt to draw her feet more in a downward perspective. So you may have noticed I haven't even like touched the face. It's because I think the face is fine, and I am by no means the animu expert, and I would probably just butcher it. So it's fine, leaving it alone. You know, I'm too lazy to put my guidelines on other layers, so whenever I have to like correct something or like move something a little bit, I just try to like not select my guidelines. As always, make sure you're drawing through your shapes to find those curves. And this is a little short, like I've barely crossed the 10-minute marker, so I'm going to actually go into the clothing a little bit. I'm going to change my pen here, or not my pen, my brush. I could just do pleats all day. So I think I've shown pleats in other videos, but they're pretty simple. Their basic structure is this kind of a shape. Okay, so it's like the same shape on the bottom to the top, and then you alternate. And then from there, you draw lines up to where the tension would be, like where it gathers somewhere up here. Usually on a sleeve or a skirt or a garter belt or wherever it is. So, and then from there, you connect the bottom points. And these lines also follow up to the tension. And then usually in here, this is shaded like that. You could probably actually see it a little bit right there. And you don't have to do this shape. This is more, excuse me, this is more of like a pleated skirt. So that's the shape I'm doing there. But you can do, you know, any kind of curved, whooshy shape. And of course you can do like triangles. Isn't that fun? So you can like do these on your notebook at school and not pay attention. You could just sit there and do like little frills and folds of clothing. I used to do like things like that, and then I would, you know, pretend this was like a piece of fabric, and I would draw all the gather points and, you know, shade inside there. So from there you learn to do these kind of shapes, and yeah, good times. Okay, so those are your frills. So because I've changed the shape of the hip a little bit, or like, not exactly changed the shape, but like where it lays on the body. So now the gather for the jacket would be more down here. If you can see on the original, it's a little higher. Also, there probably wouldn't be any kind of a gather or like a wrinkle where the breasts would be. So you don't have to worry about that. That would probably be smooth looking from the front. From the side, I don't know. But you could imply that with shading like that or something. So, and then I would have the jacket open higher. Because that she's wider down here, so I think the jacket would spread open a little further. And other than like doing details on the shoes, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but I think she mentioned she just wanted me to look at the shading real quick. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to close mine, turn off that, and I'm going to kind of like shade over your drawing. Don't worry, it's on its own layer. I'm not going to... Some people don't really like that, even if it's not the original. They don't like it when you kind of draw on their stuff, so don't worry, I'm on a new layer. So I'm trying to think how to do this because I've kind of changed it a little bit. I'll make it up as I go along. So one thing that's kind of come into vogue in this contemporary anime style is very like minimal shading. So I'm just gonna kind of color over this a little bit, try to reconstruct on this layer what I did up there. So a lot of times you'll see just like a few little bits of shading. Depending on how big her breasts are, I might come in here, cut that a little deeper, and maybe put like a little shadow right there. Up here, I did it in my drawing up above. There would be like a little bit of a bunching or a gathering up there because her arm is up and it would be pushing the jacket back to accommodate that. So right here, I think I might put like a little triangle of shading. I like to work in triangles. Some people like to do more swooshy stuff. It's just preference. And then I think here I would also put some shading just to put this arm behind the body a little bit, like to push it back some. And I know you didn't do it, but I would also put some shading on the leg because right now they're pretty 2D and we want them to pop a little more. So put a little shading under the knee. Maybe a little thing at the ankle. And then depending on how much this bunches, you could put like a few little. But it doesn't really, actually doesn't look very good. It's not that bunchy, so. Yeah, so there's that. Shading on the skirt. I really like this here, where at the bend you put in the color. That I do that too. Looks good. I don't know what else to say. That's a good thing to do. Keep doing that. Also watch where you're putting these shadows. They need to go inside where the pleats are. Because this shadow is a cast shadow from this like folding or over. Now it's okay to put some up at the top because that's where it's gathering, like under the jacket here where we can't see. But down here you need to really make sure that the shadows follow these folds. You may also want to put like a little mark next to the buttons to show where the buttonhole is. Places like this where it kind of steps is a perfect place to put that kind of triangular shading. Because right in here would be where the light hits. But like everything underneath and kind of back in would be under shadow, especially because this particular wrinkle goes like up to the breast, so up above there is like, oh, that blobbed up. Up above there is total boobage. So all the highlights are going to be hitting on the boobs and on the little wrinkles that poke out. So that's good. Yep. Okay, well, I think I'm going to call it. The only other thing I might say is maybe take some white and turn the layer to overlay. I'm just kind of curious to see how this goes. And maybe bring in a highlight. Contemporary anime doesn't really do this that much, but back when I was a youngin', highlights on everything were all the rage. I'm just curious, I'm like poking around on your drawing. Yep, pretty much fantastic. Well, no, not really. Okay, so yeah, there was me playing around. So let's thank Star Machines at deviantart.com for their contribution, and I hope that helps kind of clear some of the anatomies up. Mostly just sort of bulked up the calves a little bit, brought the shoes more into a neutral perspective rather than like a straight on, like you're looking like right at the toes of the shoe. And also kind of smoothed out this twist a little bit. Be careful where you're bunching up the fabric. Just make sure you do it at the points where there's like a bend and not where it would be smooth, like right here. You don't need it there. And also watch the length of your limbs and like where knees fall and those sort of thing, because it can kind of shrinkify your design if you're not careful. Like her knees were kind of high, her hand on this side was sort of high. So just little things like that to remember. Alright, so that'll do it for this one, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!